So we've done all this through the Precision to Decision project, and we've done, we're doing mapping, soil testing for fertiliser, EM mapping. Yep. So we're just trying, because I'm new to this farm, we're just trying to pretty well do everything so I can understand my soils, because they're so variable up here from where I've come from, and become more precise, and hopefully we can increase yields and lower inputs.
So Jimmy, you're obviously doing a calibration here at the moment, and then, you know, obviously to work out what sort of mini pan deficit you're going to run on. So how have you found this?
This is good, because we tried G-dots, but we can't get to soak. We've had it very inconsistent.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to, I have a lot of trouble getting the water through here, so it's a balancing act. We're just, if maybe we could not water for an extra day, we might save a fair bit of water.
Yeah.
So we're just seeing where it is, and I think we got to about 90 mil or something.
So 90 mil deficit in the mini pan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously that's going to lose water a little bit faster than evaporation rather. But you know, it's still a good surrogate for what's happening in the soil. So by doing that calibration, you'll work out what your peaks are, and then what we're working on is when it drops to 50% of the potential growth. For 2 days, that's when we water. Why we work on this the 2 days below 50%, you know, that originally came from some work from Hawaii. They were working on 1 day, but I found when I started measuring things, and I did a lot of measurements back in the 90s, it's a long time ago, but we had an overcast day, it sort of dropped away. You know, and sometimes hot and windy, really windy, you know, it'd drop away as well. So you just got to watch. Sometimes you do get aberrations, and if you do enough measurements, you'll see that, you know, yeah, look, that's pretty cool. The second day is usually what you want to work on. Do you know where all that came from originally?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, it's come from some BSS work from way back, you know, from Gary Ham, who was a senior agronomist there. And so when the scheme first opened up, they were going around measuring cane growth on various soil types to try and get some sort of idea of which soils would handle, well, cane would grow fastest on which soils. So with that, moving forward, a grower in Clare then asked the question, can we work out how much water's lost out of the soil by some other measure? And he said, what about if we tried to, you know, substitute soil for a pan of water? And hence the mini pan came about. And it was a guy called Mark Lewis who came to BSS and said, you know, if I'm losing water out of a drum, does that replicate what's happening in the soil? And I said, oh, that's a really interesting question. So we went back to that calibration work and started measuring cane. And that's where the mini pan really came from. So I think by 1995, we had like 500 mini pans out there, lots of drums, blue drums out across the Burdekin. But it doesn't matter what you're measuring. You can actually calibrate cane for, you know, a G-dot or a mini pan or whatever else. Now, you've obviously got another issue here, trying to get drills through. So you probably don't want to go to the full deficit, but at least it gives you something to work off, a benchmark to work off.
Yeah, it just gives me an idea.
So it's pretty interesting to see just how fast it will grow. And, you know, we're standing here now with a bit of sweat on you. Well, you've got more sweat than me, Jimmy, but you've done more work, obviously, than me, which is what I'm looking for. But the humid conditions are what the cane really loves. So the stomata stay open for longer and the cane growth will be maximised. Calibration procedure involves basically measuring out like 25 dominant sticks. We don't want crowd out, so we want the sort of dominant ones. And we're measuring to the top visible dewlap. You can see that line, the ligule there. Okay, so obviously what will happen is that'll expand and then that'll become a new node, and then a new one will come out from inside here, and etc. It just grows up. So each of those top visible dewlaps, so the next one will become another leaf and then another node. So we'll come in after we'll actually set it up first with bases, with a plastic base, so you've got a reference point, because obviously you just don't know where to put the stick otherwise. So you'll get your measurement and set it up before an irrigation starts, and as soon as you can get back on here, try and do it daily at a similar time of day. It's no point coming at 7 in the morning one day and 3 or 4 in the afternoon the next day, because there's a lot of action in between, okay? So you need to be roughly within an hour or so of each time. You'll get at least 1, if not 2, cycles in to make sure that you know what that calibration, well, the deficit point should be. Obviously the cane has to be at full canopy closure. So you really need those growing points to be at least 1.5 metres. If they're shorter than that, they're probably, it's not at full canopy closure, or secondly, they're probably crowd outs. So the 25 sticks gives us at least 20 plants at the other end, because obviously some of these sticks are probably going to crowd out, and you can see one in here. You wouldn't take that little guy because he's going to crowd out for sure. So this is the dominant. There's a couple of dominant ones here. These two are the dominants, and that one is going to go. So obviously grab the dominants, not the crowd out. Okay?
Rightio. So I come down for folder. It's good to have one of these because the dew seems to get on everything. So you try and keep it shut. And then I just come in here, and then you've got a white, we've got the same base. We put a white cap down there. And then we measure right up here to the last visual dewlap, which sometimes you've got to go around the other side because it's actually right up here. If you can see my finger. So that one's about 185 today. And then, so I open her up and then I write my height down. I write my evaporation for the day, the time I did it. It's good, yeah.